Hello students, today we will be discussing the type of question that normally comes for all the for many years in the CAT examination since 2011. This section is called irrelevant statement question. Now in this type of question, it's a combination of parajumbles and elimination of the odd sentence out. Now this type of question you would normally find 2 or 3 questions coming every year in every CAT paper. So again, we will first learn the we will see the implementation of parajumble strategies without the options, which is normally uh, a rare thing, because in the other examinations, they have the options, but in the CAT they don't give the options. So we will solve a few questions to see how actually these questions can be solved with greater accuracy and with more proficiency. So let us start with the first question. As the first question says, when cheap honey imported began cutting into ARP's profit in 1980, he decided to send some of the hives to a beekeeper friend to pollinate in California. In the early 1980s, the first one. The second one, so they talk about ARP. Who is ARP? Not given. If you solve it like a parajumble. So, if you see in this second sentence, it says in 1980s, Mike ARP. So, therefore, the first clue is that 2 is going to be the opening sentence. Okay. So, after, because it describes the ARP and about the loss of hives and how his bees are dying. Okay. And then, what does he do? He experiences 100% loss of his hives from an infestation of tracheal mites. Then he had to cope with the intrusion of Africanized killer bees. That means they're talking more about the death of the bees. And sentence 3 talks about, in continuation, how the parasite mite called Varroa destructor has killed his bees. Okay. Now 2, 4, 3 and 5, it says if ARP doesn't apply regular chemical treatments, all his colonies will die. So this 2, 4, 3 and 5 is forming a logical combination that is a complete parajumble. So in this process we have eliminated 1. Why is 1 eliminated? Because it talks about profit. It does not talk about the conservation of the life of the bees. Okay, now let's go to the second question. We see that as I have made in my earlier videos, I have shown you different types of parajumbles. So one type of parajumble starts with a question and begins with, and ends with an answer. So it is this type of parajumble that we're talking about. Okay. Now, if you see the question 1 is a question. So what's not keeping CEOs up at night? Gender pay disparity. So 1 will be the opening sentence. Okay. Then now, to understand the gender-based disparity, they have conducted a survey. In this survey, 740 CEOs and 780 suits executives worldwide found that US executives who were male ranked implement and they were getting equal pay for work. Okay, and the females ranked it 6th. The survey, the female executives who were working in the company ranked the survey as 6th. Okay. Now, this survey was about gender-based pay. Okay. Then, this disparity in ranking is a cause for concern, writes the author of the report. So, the male thinks differently and the female thinks different. So, therefore, this disparity. So, as we said, the question, it begins with a question and ending with an answer. So the sequence is 1, 4, 3, 5. Then the odd sentence out would be 2, because it talks about the regulators of the company and doesn't talk about the pay data. It doesn't talk about the disparity in gender pay. That means this is the odd one out. 2 is the odd one out. Now if we come to question number 3. I remember being depressed. So again, 1 is the opening sentence. Okay. Then it was a frightening state of mind being depressed is a mental condition. It was a state of mind that seemed to go on indefinitely. The idea of waking up and was riddled with a dread. So 1, 3. Okay, 1, 3. Okay, then I felt like, then again 1, 3. Then the 2 talks about the 2 talks about again 2 talks about the further condition of a person being depressed. Okay, 1, 3, 2, and then 4. Okay, that means 4 talks about the extreme condition, about that means the collapse of the positive attitude and becoming a pessimistic person in nature. So therefore 5 is the odd one out, because it does not talk about the consequence of depression. It talks about the consequence of depression and doesn't talk about the conditions of depression. Okay, now the last question we will solve for your understanding is question number 4. Some people hear voices, others. Now, what are some people? About what? What do they hear? Schizophrenia. So schizophrenia is a disease. So it is not been defined over here. So if you look at statement number 4, it says fewer than 1% of Americans have schizophrenia. Okay, and they have spoken about. Okay, they have spoken about the conditions of schizophrenia. Again, if you see, 2 talks about it is a mental illness that causes how a person thinks, acts and feels. 4, 2. Okay, then 4, 2. Then again, if you see, then you have some people hear voices. 4, 2, 1, and then 5. They talk about the conclusion about what happens when you have schizophrenia. Okay, the conditions of schizophrenia. In this example, we find that 3 is the odd one out, because okay, we are talking about they're talking about psychotic episodes. Okay, where they're talking about the consequences. They're talking about those who already have. Now here we're talking about the symptoms one has. The symptoms one can get to the to quantify that as a schizophrenia, but 3 is talking about those who already have. That means again 3 is the odd one out. So in this way we have solved 4 questions of the odd one out, and it is not difficult provided you understand the concept of parajumbles. So in my opinion, a strong base of parajumbles would be a great help to solve this kind of question. So if at all you have to score in this type of question, you have to have a very strong base of parajumbles. Okay, and this is a very scoring section, because in the VA, because even if you get the answer wrong, there is no negative marking. And the best part of it all, you don't have to solve the parajumble, just find the odd sentence out. So I hope this exercise has been clear enough to make you understand the way a question is solved. And for any queries you might be having, you can always you're free to please feel free to get back to me and call me or clarify your doubt in case you have any doubt. Thank you so much.